people told me in my real medicine job, you know, oh my God, you're such a sellout, you're going to plastics, like, you're gonna lose all your skills and all that stuff. So it was like a different realm.
Yeah.
So now I think that because it's more mainstream and like lots of people are coming into it, they just think like, oh, I came from the hospital setting where I did XYZ procedures. I could do fillers and Botox. It's the same thing. It'll be fine. And they don't realize the time and money that we invest in ourselves because it's not something that we learn in school per se.
Right.
Here we are
Again.
Yay! Unfilter It with
Lindsey
and China. This is a very special edition. We've been waiting for this day, which we're calling
the competition
edition. So Lindsey and I thought it was important to bring in our local friends who do the same job so that we can unfilter and rip off the facade of like
competition.
That there's competition. There's enough for everybody. So I am thrilled to have my friend Christinna here. Welcome, Christinna.
Thank you for having
Welcome.
me. Thank you.
Christinna is a PA that I've known for a couple years now. She is a great injector and allergen trainer. She works for Sperling Dermatology. Christinna, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into aesthetics.
Oh, okay, long-winded. So I became a PA in 2011, so about like 13, going on 14 years soon. I graduated from UMDMJ, Rutgers program now. So I did a few years in urgent care, OBGYN, but in school, I always wanted to do derm or plastics. I always loved kind of like the beauty industry and just, you know, making people pretty, but I loved medicine too. I was like a nerd and all that.
We love
nerds.
Yeah, I was a science
like the geek
nerd.
squad.
So I was like, how can I combine these two kind of loves of mine? And so I just started looking into aesthetic medicine and cosmetic medicine. And yeah, about 2017, about 7-8 years ago, I think, I started working in plastic surgery. So I got a taste of plastics, and we did some non-invasive body contouring, and then I really dipped my feet in injections and injectables, and that's when I was like, okay, I love this
This is
stuff.
it.
I found it.
This is me. This is my love. This is my passion. And yeah, now I work at Sperling in Red Bank, New Jersey, and I love what I do. Love it.
So the first time I saw Christinna was on TV when I was watching my DVR for Housewives, and one of the housewives is her patient. And then she started to pop up on my Instagram, and I was like, "Who's this friend? I'm trying to, you know, Christinna?" She's like, so like the universe wanted us to be friends.
Thank you.
And even when I was driving here, I'm checking, making sure I have no DMs from patients, and you're on there. I'm like, "She's everywhere. We'll see her in 30 minutes." Yeah. So that's fun. I was like, we got to meet. We got to start our competition edition on the podcast because in our industry there can be a ton of competition.
Yes.
And egos. And I have to say, like, Christinna is so smart, and there's no drama, there's no ego. Like, it's just very casual conversation. Like, we can bounce things off of each other. It's like, and we literally work down the street from one another. We share patients sometimes.
And I'd say that's how we first met too, on Instagram. I'm like, what do you think about this? And you're like, oh, you have this wavelength of laser at your place, and you're sending people to other people.
I think I met Christinna when you were working in plastics, and like there was a training that we were both at or something like that, and we just fell in love because like, what's not to love about you?
I immediately gravitated towards you because I remember asking questions, and I was kind of new still. This was like a few years back. I was new, and I was just like, how do you do that? And what do you do at your, and you were so sweet and so nice. And not that everyone else wasn't, but it was just like everyone else was kind of quiet. And you're like, yeah, if you ever want to get together, like just text me and everything. I'm like, she's so cool. Like, I love that.
It's just easy.
Such an open, like, you had an open arms, kind of like embraced me so nicely, and I loved that about you.
And that's how it should be.
It should be like that.
I've been to many things where people that are local to us are not nice. I would try to just start a conversation with someone and they're just not nice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? Like, aren't we humans
know.
first? Like,
And
what are we doing here?
this is the hardest
What are we
thing
doing?
too, because the science in our industry is like forever changing, and like sometimes depending on like what practice you work at, you might be the only injector, and so then you're kind of like working in a silo. Like, where then do you find your tribe and your people to like bounce stuff off of? And that was like one of the reasons that I became a trainer. Now all of us trained, which is like really cool. So like, tell us, Christinna, like how did you dive into the world of training other injectors, and like what do you love about it?
Okay, great question. So kind of going back to my beginning, like I was always so thankful for someone lending a helping hand to me and just giving me the time of day to explain things and teach me things. And if it wasn't for certain people really helping me, I don't think I would be the injector that I was today. So I have to pay it forward. Like I have to do the same for others, because if someone did it for me, and everybody starts somewhere, like we're all a student, we're all like baseline one day, So it's only going to elevate our industry if I can help others, then we help each other. It's going to be like, it's going to be great for the rest of us. I feel like, the aesthetic industry, it's mainly made up of female injectors, and it could be a little mean girl-ish.
Catty, yes.
And I hate that's one thing I don't like about our industry, is it's too much competition and too much kind of ego and things like that. We really need to be elevating, supporting each other up, because when you win, I win. When I win, you win.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
So I got into training and I absolutely love it. I didn't know I was gonna love it that much. And I remember like when I was little, my mom's like, you're gonna be a teacher. But I was like, no, I like beauty and I like medicine, and why would I wanna be a teacher? But like now I kind of can see that avenue going in. And I love it. I keep in touch with like all my trainees, and they constantly bounce ideas off me, like, I have this patient, I have this case, what do you think I should do? Like, or what would you do? And I'm like, I love that, let's talk about it. And I just think that's so cool, because back in the day, I wish I had that, you know, and then eventually I did. I made friends and I had my tribe. So I'm trying to make a tribe for others.
I love that.
Yes, and it's nice to be the mentor of a tribe. I think that's one of my favorite things to do. Really in life, like no matter, when I first started out and I was a cashier at Food Town, I was always training people. Every job that I have been in, I've always trained people. When I started in plastic surgery, I was number one in, I was number one of their PAs. Like I was just the first one. So then I, made a whole department, trained everybody, and it's fun because now I'm training them to do injectables. So like I'm training them again, some of the same ones. So it's like, it's very interesting that, yes, we don't want to be teachers in a school. But I feel like as women, we tend to always be teachers, even if it's to our kids or who knows, whatever role we are in. I feel like I've always been in some type of role to teach something.
And it's the nurturer in us,
Yes.
Like, we want to nurture this.
I don't like to see people fail.
No.
I'd rather see someone else succeed than myself succeed.
Yeah, same.
Which some people don't feel like that. Those are the people that are mean, that are at the conferences.
I saw this cool saying, and I posted it the other day on my social media, and it was something like, competition happens at the bottom, but when you're at the top, it becomes collaboration. And I really do feel like confidence in what you're doing really does dictate how your perspective is on other people in your field, right?
Yes.
So one thing that I think is cool for all of us, especially in teaching, is that we're spreading it, we're paving the way for like new people and learning also on the way. I still have mentors that I reach out to when things are, like when I'm confused or I come across something that I'm like, hey, I don't know what this is. I think like keeping that beginner's mindset always is important too.
There's always room to learn.
There's always room.
And stuff always changes.
Yep, stay humble, and I feel like I always say I'm going to learn till the day I die. Like I never know it all, and even like the people sometimes that I'm training, injectors that I'm training, they teach me something about their perspective and the way they look at anatomy and faces.
And it could be totally different.
Like, oh my God, I didn't even think of it that way, but that's so interesting that you said that. So I'm learning, they're learning, we're all learning.
I love that. And it's
learning's
results driven. So like if you're teaching someone and they're teaching you and your results get better and they have good results, then we're just kind of moving the industry forward. Because I feel like for a while, and maybe it's like turning the corner a little bit now, but I felt like for a while there were so many things out there that were like cheapening what we do, like
Groupon,
Botox, like, and I'm not talking smack, but like, there were things out there that I was like, no, wait, guys, this is a medicine.
Yeah.
Like, not everybody is a
Don't
candidate.
cheapen it down.
Don't cheapen it down.
Don't just give it to everybody. We
not
say
like
no.
getting your
I'm sure
hair
you say
done
no
or-
all
yeah.
the time
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Like all the time.
All the
I said
time.
it today
Yes.
to 2 people.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I don't believe it's going to look good, I just can't put my signature on it. Like, I just can't. And no, yeah, I say no to people all the time. I'm like, you look great. I think you look great the way you are. And my medical opinion is you need nothing. Like,
Right.
you're pretty, go.
Enjoy yourself and
enjoy
get-
yourself,
yeah.
go live your life.
And I feel like
Sometimes it's
that-
also like in here.
Yeah.
I feel. And I do love that part of my job is like I'm helping someone's confidence by making them feel good about themselves. But there comes to a point like we can only fix so much.
Yes.
Whereas in here, you still have to work on what's
Yep.
in there.
Exactly.
And you
Yeah.
have like such a cool demeanor. I feel like, you know, we are everyone's therapist, and
Yeah,
like you're
literally.
totally
Oh, totally.
fine
It's
to-
like psychology
Totally.
is part of our, I don't know how many stories I've heard from patients and crying fest and things like
Everything.
that, and I
I-
feel so, like my heart, just like the moment I meet a new patient and they're like, I just don't recognize myself anymore. And I look at this and 20 years have gone by and I'm like, oh, like I had a patient once, she never wanted to take a picture for like 2 to 5 years, I think. She was
I have
like,
some of
I
them.
refuse to take a picture.
And then the day they
And
do.
then the day she came in, she's like, I took a bunch of selfies. And I was like, let me see.
That's the
Yeah.
best.
And she was so proud of herself and I was proud of her. So like that's what it like.
That's the real confidence
those
boost
are the
that
days
you
that
were
I'm like,
able to
that's
give
what
them.
I do, what I do.
Yeah. What's
So
your
good.
favorite treatment to do? Because I know you do, your practice encompasses a lot of like face and body stuff.
Yeah.
So like if you and it doesn't have to be just one, but like
Yeah.
give me an idea.
If you
of,
could
like,
do
what's
one
your
thing all
favorite
day,
thing.
what would it be?
I would never do anything
One
once.
thing.
I know.
Mine would be
I
sit
wouldn't
on the
either.
beach.
I feel
Sit
like
on the
that's
beach.
the
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
But if I had to, I think fillers and facial balancing all day, every day if I had to. I love
fun.
all the realm of everything else, but like I feel like the transformation, the minute I can like transform their face in a good way, in a natural way,
right.
in one sitting, and they could literally like come in looking one way, leave looking another way, but in a natural way, like it's just a refreshed, supported way, they love it.
And that's what's fun about filler, because you can
Yeah,
see a little bit
right
of quick
away.
results. So
Yeah.
that's what's nice about it. It's a
Yeah.
little instant gratification there for the patients
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
So that is my favorite. And also like proving the skeptics wrong. A lot of patients come in and they're like, I'm drooping and I need you to fix this, but don't put any fillers in my face. And I'm like, oh, I was like, this is my favorite. And I'm like, let me challenge you, actually. Actually, we do need some fillers and let me prove you wrong. And then they walk out and they're like so happy they did it. I'm happy they did it, and it's just a win. And then they come back and do more.
I think the funniest thing in our industry, not the funny, well, is how uninformed or
Yes.
wrongly informed, misinformed patients can be,
Yeah.
whether they're looking on Google or, you know, whatever on social media, that they totally don't understand. And they think, you know, everybody, you get one syringe of filler, then you're gonna look crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it takes a lot of filler to look crazy. Don't worry, you'll be gonna be fine, and I will never let you look crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I do, I'm quitting my job.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, then I wouldn't want to do it. I think education plays a huge role, and a lot of patients, they don't know. And
People thank me for educating
Yeah,
them. Yeah,
I
I feel
know.
like you would educate people a lot too,
Right.
and they're like, you know, I really understand it now since you know
Yeah.
just talking to you for 5 minutes, and they appreciate it. They said everyone
Yeah.
that I've seen for the past 10
Never
years
told me.
never told me
They just
any of
did it.
this. They just did it. They didn't let me pick. They just oversold me on things. I feel like I'm overfilled and I
I
look
think
crazy.
that's what old traditional
Yeah.
medicine was. You come in and they're like, oh, you need this, this, and this, and that's all. Then this is what you, and they're
Yes.
like, I don't even know what I got. I don't even know what I paid for. Versus now we're like, okay, let's talk about what I think you need, but you tell me if you're okay with it. It's like a team, it's a collaboration.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
With the
that's
patient.
like that should be the trend how medicine goes, and I don't know who I was having this conversation with the other day, but it's like the patient should be involved in the care, and I
Yeah.
think like in our
Yes,
industry,
even more so.
we were like
Yeah.
kind of the forefront of that because for the most part what we're doing is cash based. So the patient, because of that, we're not going through insurance. They just feel like they should be more involved because they're paying out of pocket. But I feel like that's how medicine should be. Like you should always be involved in your decision making. It's
care.
your body, it's your care.
And also know what's going on. I mean, it's funny you say that. Like, I have family members, sometimes they go to the doctor, other doctors, and they'll come back and I'm like, okay, so what tests they do? What are they checking for? They're like, I don't know. And I'm like,
Yes.
what do you mean you don't know
Yes.
it's your health? world?
Right.
Did you not ask these questions, you know? So that's like the, you know, medical provider me. I'm like, okay, we got to call your doctor and see what's
happening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, they should. It's like you said, it's your body, your health. So.
And I think even more, like, all this is by choice. So I feel like
Yes.
that's even more important, so that people need to know, you know, what can go wrong. Like, people are like, oh, I didn't even know I could get an infection if I wore makeup today. I'm
Right.
like,
Right.
what?
I know.
Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
So it's definitely scary out there. So we're trying to keep our tribe of people we trust, and we'll go with that.
first.
Yeah,
Yes,
safety first.
It's very important. It's still a medical procedure at the end of the day. You have to take your precautions, and you have to make sure you're seeing a provider that knows what they're doing, you know, which is why training is also so important to me.
So
there are
important.
injectors out there that maybe are not getting effective training, and maybe it's not their fault. Like, maybe they were just kind of thrown into this job, and, you know.
I feel like a lot of times they don't know. Like,
Yes.
That's
I
my
can-
big
I
saying.
can
They don't know
speak-
what they don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I could speak for myself. Like, I went into plastics early when no one wanted to do it, and in
Yeah.
fact, like, people told me in my real medicine job, you know, oh my God, you're such a sellout. You're going to plastics,
Right.
like, you're gonna lose all your skills and all that stuff.
Right.
So it was like a different realm.
Yeah.
So now I think that because it's more mainstream and like lots of people are coming into it, they just think like, oh, I came from the hospital setting where I did XYZ procedures. I could do fillers and Botox. It's the same thing. It'll be fine. And they don't realize the time and money that we invest in ourselves because it's not something that we
Right.
learn in school per se.
Right.
At all.
At
At
all.
all. Yeah.
Just
And-
plastics in
yeah.
general. You're not learning
And like
anything.
just
Right.
the
Yeah.
cadaver courses alone, you know, can cost $5,000. You know, the beginner filler injectable trainings can cost the same.
Yeah, it's expensive.
You know, shadowing, private trainings, whatever it is. Thankfully, I always kind of grew up in the plastics realm where I had a surgeon around who,
Yeah,
or
same.
like other people that I could be like, oh, that's how you do that. So,
Yeah.
but I think
No.
that people just don't realize.
Yeah, and I think they don't realize that our field not only is medicine, but it's art.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
artistic.
100%.
If you don't have an artistic eye, it
You're
might
beat.
not be for you.
Yep.
And some people just think, well, it sounds so glamorous and it sounds so cool to work in
And
it.
they're like, I just want free services.
Yeah,
and
and
they're
I
like,
just
it's none
want
of it's free.
services, But if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
cannot look at a patient and artistically make them look better, you know, visualize that, then that's not good. You know, then it's maybe not for you. Not that I want to downplay that, but you
yes.
know, you have to know your strengths, you know, and your limitations.
It's so true, and like most of the people that we know have an artistic side, and they do something else in art. Like I like to sketch. I use pencils sometimes. I like have played around in some drawing. You do photography.
Yeah, like
What
that.
do you like?
Editing,
Oh, that's
stuff like
amazing.
that.
I don't do anything currently, but when I was little, I loved to do hair.
See?
Loved
You have
to
it.
do
That's
hair.
so cool.
Yeah.
So much that was like my career aspiration. I wanted to be a hairstylist, but my parents were like, no, you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. And so I was like, okay. They're like, you're never going to be a hairstylist. And I was like, what? You know, so I ended up picking medicine, but I always wanted to do something in the beauty industry. So I think that's where I,
Yeah.
and to this day, like my little cousin will still call me. She's like, can you do my updo for the prom? And I'm like, yeah.
You just do it for fun now.
Yes,
It's
like
better
I
off.
just do it for
It's
fun.
better off
Yeah,
that way.
makeup, you know, all that girly stuff has always been something I loved. So I think that helped me be creative and artistic in this and like genuinely love it.
And doing makeup is like such a big
Huge plus.
plus because
Yes.
you're like you already understand the contours and
Shadows,
highlights and
right.
The
exactly.
shadows.
Yeah.
Oh, aesthetics is a lot about shadows.
Yes.
And filling in the shadows and the
Yes.
dead space.
So
Yeah.
there was this one injector, he was a male older, and I remember like working with him, he didn't understand the importance of like a woman when she puts contour and blush, and he was injecting cheeks. And I just remember that being such a teaching moment for me because I'm like, this is so important. You have to understand shadows and how the light reflects on your cheek too if you're going to do cheek filler. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I think it's so important. It's funny, we had like a few years back a makeup artist work for us. She was so good at selling injectables to patients because she would come in the room and
She could see it,
she
right?
could
See
see
it.
things that like others couldn't. And
Yep.
I just remembered I was like so inspired by her. I'm like, that is so cool. So yeah, makeup artists, hairstylists, I love them. And they're kind of like, they also collaborate with us
Yes.
too because they're kind of in the
Oh,
beauty
100%.
industry.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
them microblading,
Yeah.
all of it.
Lashes.
Yeah, all of it.
All that stuff.
all of our
Yeah.
friends now.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we are
So
at our
this is just our
time for-
testament to
Yes.
find your tribe, connect if you're an injector or aspire to be, connect with your local people.
You're not alone.
Thank you.
There
Yes.
is plenty of business for everyone out there, and your people find you. Even like for Lindsey and I, we work together every day, have the same hours most of the time.
Yeah,
Her
it's
people
great.
are her people, my people are my people.
And sometimes we share people.
Sometimes
Yeah.
we share people.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
I usually get the weirdos. We love you. You're weird like me. Christinna, tell everybody, how can they find you?
Thanks, guys. You can find me on Instagram at injector_Stina. I also work at Sperling Dermatology in Red Bank and in the Montclair office.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much for coming
Thank you.
on.
Thank you so much for giving us some time.
Guys, you inspire me, so
Aw.
thank
We
you.
love you so much.
Same. All right, so make sure you tune in next time on
Unfilter It
with Lindsey.
and China.
See you then.